Here again with BKFC boss Dave Feldman ahead of what's going to be an absolutely insane card, right? KnuckleMania II, February 19th, Hollywood, Florida, on your Bare Knuckle TV app for just $4.99 a month. Dave, talk to me about this first. The KnuckleMania concept, is that basically the super show, so to speak? I mean, this thing is stacked. So when we see that name, is that how we just know as a consumer this is going to be a loaded card?
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely going to be one of our best cards of the year. It's funny because we were in-house here talking, and they're like, it's the best card of the year. I said, no, it's not, man. I said, we got some things coming, and they're like, what? So I'm just talking to them about some really good potential things we have coming up. But this card is, in my mind, the most stacked and most notable card that we've had to date.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Of course, the main event, two very well-known names, Mike Perry, Julian Lane, going to be headlining. They had a little incident. They've kind of already had round one, maybe. So I'm just talking. I mean, talk to me about kind of what you're expecting out of fight week, and is we're gonna have to have some added security around to make sure they don't do this until the pay-per-view starts. What's your plan for them?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, two fights on the top four, if you will, are really don't like each other. They just don't like each other. And two of them I'm not worried about. So absolutely, we're going to have extra security. I mean, look, no matter how many times I talk to Mike Perry or Julian Lane and say, listen, it's got to be like this. It's never going to happen that way. Once they see each other, something's going to happen. Sparks are going to fly, which, look, we don't encourage it, but at the end of the day, it's this great promotion, right? I mean, it promotes the event. It gets people interested in it. But we're absolutely going to make sure there's extra security there so nothing really, really jumps down too much.
Yeah, those guys are just who they are. They're gonna fight. So let me ask you something. Here's what I'm kind of intrigued about this, right? I mean, Mike Perry, obviously fantastic fighter, but Julian Lane's got some experience, and what I see is that it seems to me this sport has like a learning curve to it of like figuring out what the pacing is, what the strategy is. So do you feel like Julian Lane has maybe a significant advantage in many ways because of the experience he has?
Well, it's funny you said that because I absolutely agree with you that, and I say it all the time. I go, this is different. And people go, yeah, I know it's different. I go, no, you don't understand. This is different. When you get hit once, then you're going to have to adjust your plan because it's different. Some people really adapted very well and then, just carried them through everything, but it's different. But Mike Perry, he's different. So he's a different beast. And I don't think it's going to affect him much that it's bare knuckle. I do think Julian Lane has an advantage of being in there so many times in bare knuckle and know what to expect, know the different angles. He knows the ring. He knows, jumping off the line, and he knows what it feels like to get hit with the bare knuckle. So, he has a little bit of an advantage there. But then you have, Mike Perry's on a roll. I mean, he just beat a very, very significant, world-class professional boxer in his boxing debut, really, and he did good. I couldn't be any more excited, honestly. I really couldn't be any more excited about the whole entire, top four, really the whole card. This whole card is stacked. I mean, from the prelims all the way up, we have Brian Foster on the card making his bare knuckle debut. It's going to be an unbelievable card.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about those other fights as well. I guess kind of one last thing I want to ask you, maybe most pertain to the main event, but you mentioned, Mike Perry was just in another organization. Obviously, you're worried about running your business, but I wonder, I mean, is this a situation where some of these, organizations that are a little bit different, have a little bit different rule set, a little bit can work together to allow these athletes maybe more opportunities to compete?
I don't really mind it as long as they're, they're treating the guys right and they have. If they're a champion with us, that's not going to happen. Like if they're a champion with us and they fight with another organization, they're not the champion anymore. If they're not a champion with us and we can't do anything in that interim, I think it gets different eyeballs on it. So it would only help when he comes back over to here. And we have a great relationship with the people at Triller. So, it was no problem working together with them, letting them use Mike Perry and we'll see what happens.
That's good to hear. I like to see those opportunities for fighters. All right, let me ask you, title fight. You mentioned a couple. We'll talk about the first one, Luis Palomino, Martin Brown. A couple of MMA notables, man. And obviously Palomino's been in some battles, and Brown's on a little streak as well. I mean, two nice win streaks coming in here. What are you expecting out of this fight?
I mean, really, it's a coin flip because you got Martin Brown, who's just bigger and stronger at that weight, right? Luis Palomino came up in weight. He's naturally at 155. Now he actually wants to move up to 165. I don't know. I mean, Luis Palomino just seems like he adapted so well to bare knuckle. I mean, he throws haymakers and bombs with bare knuckle, never has a broken hand, never has a problem like that. So he's doing great. And Martin Brown, I mean, he knocked out a guy, Bobby Taylor, who doesn't get knocked out, who's a real tough dude and who hits like a brick. He took the punch, went like that, and came back and started throwing punches. So that's another great fight. I mean, really, all of these fights are matched great. I can't wait to watch them.
You mentioned the other fight where there was no love lost. Of course, that's your women's title fight, right? Between Britain Hart, and Christine Fajeda, who I guess is Britain Beltran at this point. I'll get it right there. But listen, maybe extra security around them too. I don't know. I think they're going to get into it on site if they see each other at the hotel.
No, it's crazy. I mean, Britt texted me the other day. I wish her happy birthday. She goes, "I want to kill this, blah blah blah," and I got no love lost. And boss, the only thing I want is that championship for my birthday. And I said, well, look, man, 2 weeks, you got it. So, you got your shot to go out there and do your thing. She fought Christine before. Christine's just a different type of person. Like I don't know, she's a beast at this. But, Britain's learning bare knuckle. So she's learned, as you said, as the more you get involved and fight more and you evolve with this sport, you learn more, you learn how to do it. And Britt's learning it. I mean, she beat a really, really tough Pearl Gonzalez in her last fight. So I don't know, man, another coin toss, another one. And then, I know you're going to ask me, so I'll just bring it into Chad Mendes making his bare knuckle debut. If you go by what guys look on pads or on a heavy bag, like he's savage. Like, it's unbelievable. I'm watching some of his training videos and I'm like, man, crazy. But then I always go, let's just see what happens when he gets hit with a bare knuckle. Again, I suspect that Chad Mendes, he's been in with the best in the world, that he's not going to phase him as much, and he's going to perform very well. But he's got a guy, Fames, who's 1-1 in bare knuckle with us. His last fight, he didn't train at all. He really didn't. He got cocky. He won in like a 14-second knockout or something in his first fight. Thought, I don't need to train for this. I'm this bad dude. And he got it handed to him a little bit last time. He's training really, really hard. He called me last night, actually. He said, look, boss, man, thank you. This is going to change my entire life. I said, well, the platform's yours, and now you got to make the best of it. Another great fight on that card.
And I did want to ask you, because obviously I think a lot of, MMA fans especially are excited to see Chad Mendes back. How did this relationship even start? I mean, here's a guy that we thought was retired, right? Was saying he wasn't competing again. Not only do you get him to come back, but you get him to come back in a different sport. Was this a situation where, you heard rumblings and reached out to them, or they reached out to you? How did this situation come about?
Yeah, we dealt with his manager on another fighter, and then, they mentioned Chad's name, and I'm like, yeah, man, absolutely. Let's get this done. But it took us a while to get the deal done because, look, he is a marquee fighter. He wanted a little bit more money than we gave him, but he saw the potential in this thing and where he could take this, and he can be our number one star because that kind of star power. So he can be number one in this sport, and we'll see what happens with him. But look, he's got to get past a tough customer in front of him, Fames. And then, everybody in the 155-pound division is calling him out already. He's a target. So it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it. And excited to see the kind of new faces that Mike Perry and Chad Mendes and these guys are going to bring into the app. And the one really cool thing, and you mentioned at the beginning, is, last KnuckleMania we sold for $39.99 and we did very, very good numbers. But we're trying to build this app, and we're keeping it consistent at $4.99. I mean, this is like, I don't want to sound cocky. This is a gift. I mean, $4.99. You can't beat it for this type of card anywhere in the world. $4.99. So, it's a typical pay-per-view event for any other organization in the world. So, we just want to really build that subscription base up, build that fan base up for bare knuckle, and we're just doing it for $4.99. We expect to do record numbers, and I think we are.
But I'm not gonna lie, Dave. I had to read the press release a couple times. I was like, "What? Wait a minute! There must be a catch here. There must be a trick. There's some fine print that I'm not seeing."
Yeah, man, it's funny because we had the meetings, and the whole time we were at the pay-per-view price, and like right when we were about to go out with the press release, I said, "All right, guys, hold on, quick meeting, let's go." I said, I just want to get a lot of viewers to this thing, man. Let's build the subscription up. Let's give these loyal fans, everything we can give them. $4.99, and everybody was like, "What are you doing? Like, we can't do that." And I'm like, "No, trust me, I got a plan. I got a plan here." And I think like I said, I know we're going to do record numbers, but I think we're going to do even better than we think. It's a very, very, very fair price for anyone that hasn't watched bare knuckle before, just to try it out. Right? You might not try it out for $50, $60, but you're certainly going to try it out for $5.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, listen, you mentioned some new faces, familiar face, Melvin Guillard, not able to compete. I just wonder what's his future. And I'm kind of torn on this, right? Because you want athletic commissions to be protecting people 100%, right? But I mean, can he get medically cleared? Do you know? I mean, were there tests done? Because it seems like this was just a decision that was made on his record. So I'm just not sure. Do you know where his career stands?
Well, look, man, I respect the Florida State Athletic Commission. They've always been great to me, and they always do a fine job. So I'm going to support whatever decision they make. But on the other hand, they just look, he lost this many fights in a row, but like not his last fight, but the fight before that, he lost on a disqualification when he knocked someone out. So they're not looking at really how he performed. Is he advancing his career? Yes. Is he not the same Melvin Guillard? Yeah, he's not. But this is different also. It's different. That's why a Chad Mendes is coming over here when everybody thought he was retired, because although he has to train very, very hard and it's brutal on a different level, but it's not as hard on your body and the training that you have to go through to prepare for this fight. It's not as hard on your whole body. And, the same thing goes for Melvin Guillard. Like I said, he always comes to fight. If he was cleared medically, and if he is cleared medically now, because he might be now, we welcome him. But at the end of the day, I'll never stand against a commission like the Florida State Commission, who has always given me every shot in the world, and they're fair. So if they make a decision, I support that decision 100%.
Yeah, it's such a fine line because we want them to ensure fighter safety, right? But at the same time, this is how these people make a living, you know what I mean? So if they can clear the medicals, it seems like you got to let them compete.
And I thought that was a great fight. I mean, him versus Julian, I thought was going to be a very competitive fight. But at the end of the day, it's like I said, we'll just stand back and see what happens. We're not gonna take a stand here against the commission by any means. If it's something that we thought that there was a no-brainer on, we take a stand against it. But this is something that they're making the decision to protect the welfare of Melvin, and obviously to protect themselves and to protect their reputation. And I'm going to support them on that.
Yeah, totally understand. Obviously, the Association of Boxing Commissions as well came out, so they'd like to see you, take a look at your roster, overhaul it maybe a little bit. What did you make of that statement? And is that something that you're actively doing, reviewing who's under contract?
Look, man, we have some tough dudes fighting for us. And look, like any organization in the world, there's one or two guys that, maybe it's time for them to be released. But at the same time, the Association of Boxing Commissioners and Mike Mazzulli, I think he takes his magnifying glass out and puts it on BKFC more than he does any other organization in the world, because he put a letter out that said that Melvin Guillard was denied. Okay, he was denied. No problem. We move on and we go to the next guy. There's 100 fighters a day, a week, being denied by different commissions all over the United States, but there's never a press release sent out about that. But that's okay. Look, we're going to continue to strive, for the best fighters that we can get, putting on the best fights, making sure they're medically fit, making sure that they get this, the best possible care that they can get. And we'll just keep moving on and signing these bigger and better fighters and growing this organization. So, it is what it is. I'm not going to. To me, that was, it was like I'm going to come get you, or I'm going to get you, but it's not going to happen, because at the end of the day, we do everything right. We always did everything right. Even with that Montana situation that he said, we were the only promotion that got anything said to. They got a slap on the wrist when all these other commissions are doing things less than all these other promotions are doing things less than us. We go even a step further and we still get smacked on the wrist, but that's okay. Like I said, I know the product we have. I know the growth we have, especially international, and 2022 is going to be on fire, John. But at the end of the day, we'll just keep doing the right thing, putting on these great events, these great fights, taking care of the fighters, doing everything we can for them, and we're going to continue to grow.
Awesome. Well, you tease it, so let's see what more you can tease, because you said, yes, this is a great fight card, but it might not be the greatest fight card of the year by the time we're said and done. So, certainly I'm sure there'll be news coming out, but what can you tell us? What kind of hints, information, what can you tell us about what is on tap for 2022?
I mean, I just got a really popular boxing world champion. I can't say because he's he's about to be released. I think he's going to make a big splash. I got another huge name in boxing now. And we're in talks with that gentleman, and I think that's about to come to fruition. So I think we're going to shock a few people. And again, we're just signing a lot of fighters from all over the world now. We're going to a great fight in the Netherlands in July. We're going to the UK in June. We've got Russia. We're launching in May. We're going to be in 8 different countries. I know we're getting a little. The year is starting to tick a little bit now, but we have so many different things that are going on. You know, I love it. I love where we're at. I love the growth of this. I can tell you that, you know, it puts a lot of weight on me, a lot of stress on me as we're growing this thing. People don't see the growing pains that we go through, but you know, this thing is, I see it as being something huge in the next 3 years. I really do. I think we can compete with anybody in 3 years, and we're putting the work in now, and, you know, we'll see what comes out of that. But, you know, we treat our fighters great. I love the fighters. Without the fighters, we have nothing. You know, they're our #1 commodity. So as long as we treat them right and keep doing the right thing for them, they're going to keep fighting their butts off for us.
That's awesome. These international events, Dave, do you see them as like regional, like their own thing, or is it, you know, it'll be happening like multiple places in one night, or that's just the product? How do you see the international factoring in?
Now we're doing some licensing deals with some different promoters in these different countries. We're also doing some joint ventures, which it'll be a BKFC event as so many other organizations do. But it's not going to be one night. It's going to be, you know, an event in Amsterdam, a whole night in a stadium. It's going to be phenomenal. We're going to go do a big event in UK, in Moscow. Thailand starting to come back up on March 19th. Japan just got talked to yesterday. I mean, really, Belgium, Germany, Italy, Greece, they're all, it's just crazy. Like this past 2 weeks, John, I was like, am I the United Nations? Because they're all reaching out to me. And I was like, this thing is unbelievable. The growth of this thing is just crazy. That's why I said internationally. Domestically, you know, we made a footprint and we just keep marching forward. But internationally, I think like in Russia, we do, I think I told you this before, we do 700,000 to 1 million live viewers at 5 a.m. in Russia. It's crazy.
Wow.
But, you know, we're growing. We just signed a 3-year extension with Match TV over there, the same network that the UFC is on over there now. So it's a good step for us. We signed a lot of other platform deals all over the world. That's why I said, like, I just talked to a sponsor earlier. I said, we are going to be seen on KnuckleMania live by more than 7 million people.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Well, listen, KnuckleMania 2, February 19th, as we said, Hollywood, Florida, BKFC app. Listen, I don't think you have to sell it. I do think it's the best card you've ever put together. I think it's the most intriguing card you've ever put together. I don't see why anybody would miss it, but you are the master salesman, so give it one last pitch.
Look, man, the most exciting, fastest growing combat sport on the planet with some of the biggest names in combat sports right now are fighting February 19th on Bare Knuckle TV. You can get that at bkfc.com. Only $5, $4.99. You can watch. It's not just that event. You get the whole rest of the month. All the other events that we're going to do that month are included in that subscription. $5 a month. You get unlimited pay-per-view access, unlimited content. Anything you want about Bare Knuckle, you can find on the Bare Knuckle TV app. Again, that's February 19th, KnuckleMania II, the biggest, most exciting card that we've ever done to date. And I just can't wait to see it as a fan. I'd love to get you out live to one of the events, John, so you just let me know.
I got to make it out, man. You do it like no other. You can't say any better. Dave, always appreciate the time. We'll definitely tune in. It's going to be a great one. And thanks for the time, brother.
Thanks, John. Take care, bud.